When you think of the White House, what is the first image that appears in your mind? Do you think of glory, power, the United States of America, or the President? Today, on American Artifact with your host Ethan Yan, we will be delving deeper and learning a substantial amount about the Chief Executive Department of the government and the official residence of the President of the United States of America. The Second Continental Congress had agreed that there would be a special district to serve as the location of the government. Because they were not able to agree on a specific location, they decided to bequeath the responsibility to the new Congress. In 1790, with the passage of the Residence Act, the establishment of a national capital on the Potomac River was approved, and President George Washington was to select the exact location. After the selection, Washington assigned Pierre Charles L'Enfant with the task of designing this new city. Part of his plan included the President's House, which would later be called the White House. A competition was held to select the designer of this building. James Hoban, an Irish architect, defeated 8 other competitors, including an anonymous submission by Thomas Jefferson. President Washington was not entirely enthusiastic about Hoban's original proposal. He believed that it needed to be grander and fit to house the nation's president. Because of these suggestions, the Irishman decided to add an extra level and widen the building. Construction began on October 13, 1792, with slaves and freed African Americans working with hired Europeans. Hoban himself also employed Scottish immigrants who worked on the sandstone walls. After about 8 years, in November 1800, the building was finally inhabitable. The expenses were reported to be worth about $3,229,057 today. Although L'Enfant had planned for the executive mansion to be 5 times larger than the final product, labor and material scarcity forced the reduction in size. The building ended up only having 2 main floors, and some cheaper materials were utilized. After construction, a layer of white, comprising of rice glue, casein, lime, and lead, was painted all over the walls. This led to its nickname, the White House, which was first publicly used in 1811. The northern face is the main one and comprises of 3 floors and columns of windows. However, the ground floor is hidden by a parapet and a ramp, so it gives a false image of 2 floors. The central 3 columns of windows, known as bays, are behind a Greek-style portico. Above the entrance, there is a lunette fanlight and a sculpted garland of flowers. The southern facade is an amalgamation of a Palladian and neoclassical architecture. All 3 floors are visible on this side of the White House. Throughout the 214 years that the White House has served as the residence of our nation's president, 43 men and their families have inhabited that building. There have been many substantial changes all through its history. Thomas Jefferson elegantly refurnished the entire building into the style of Louis XVI. He also conceived of the idea of eastern and western colonnades, which now serve as a link between the residential area and the east and west wings. Jefferson also added a flower garden, planted numerous trees, and added a stone wall around the building. In 1814, the building had to be mostly reconstructed after it was damaged in the burning of Washington during the War of 1812. Dolly Madison famously rescued a painting of George Washington from the White House as it was burning. Benjamin Henry Latrobe, whom Jefferson had worked with, and James Hoban collaborated to reconstruct the White House during this time. When John Quincy Adams became president, he expanded the flower garden that Jefferson had built and planted ornamental trees. Andrew Jackson built an early version of a greenhouse, which contained tropical trees and flowers, but this was later destroyed. President Polk placed a grand bronze statue of Thomas Jefferson on the north lawn, which was moved to the Capitol building after 27 years. President Grant ordered the enlargement of the property and the creation of pools on both the north and south lawns in 1875. 6 years later, Chester Arthur ordered the renovation of the White House, and many items were sold at auctions. Changes were also made internally. Teddy Roosevelt hired an architectural firm to expand and renovate the building to fit the neoclassical style of the house and allocated more space for a residential area. President Taft also added space, but to the west wing, which included the construction of the Oval Office. In 1913, the Rose Garden, which is now used for press conferences and officially welcoming guests, was created. President Franklin Roosevelt moved the Oval Office to its present location, adjacent to the Rose Garden. In 1948, the White House was declared to be on the brink of collapse. The Truman Restoration cost $52 million in today's money and reconstructed and added much to the mansion. This included centralized air conditioning, a bomb shelter, some extra storage area, and workrooms. Jacqueline Kennedy, the nation's first lady from 1961 to 1963, asked Henry Francis DuPont of the Winterthur Museum to assist her in accumulating artifacts that had once been at the mansion, and many others. They also received many donations of antiques, such as paintings, from philanthropic families. Mrs. Kennedy selected different themes for different rooms, which reflected different periods in history. She also helped produce the first White House guidebook, which helped finance the project. The Kennedy Restoration was a grand and monumental redecoration of the White House. Since then, there have not been many large-scale changes to the building, and the Committee for the Preservation of the White House must authorize any modifications to the staterooms. The executive residence has many different rooms with a variety of functions. The blue, red, and green rooms located on the state floor are the 3 state parlors. The names of these rooms are loosely associated with the colors of their walls. They usually serve as the location for small dinners or cocktail parties, and more. The state dining room, also located on the state floor, is used for formal state dinners, receptions, and luncheons, and can serve around 140 people. Adjacent to that is the family dining room, which has a somewhat deceiving name. This room is mainly utilized for working meals and smaller ones. There are 2 main halls, the entrance and cross halls, which are both large. The grand staircase connects the state and second levels and is used for the presidential entrance march. On the second level, the yellow oval room welcomes foreign heads of states before dinners. The east and west sitting halls are used as informal living rooms. Lincoln's bedroom and the treaty room are used as studies and offices as well. The first family dines in the president's dining room, and several bedrooms, a kitchen, and a dressing room are there as well. The third floor is less formal and has less official rooms. It contains a solarium, a game room, a linen room, a diet kitchen, and a room that used to serve as George W. Bush's workout room. Finally, the ground floor features the main kitchen, a map room which was used by Franklin Roosevelt to check the war's progress, a china room that houses the nation's collection of state china, the diplomatic reception room, the library, and the Vermeil room, which has the portraits of all First Ladies and contains many items of furniture. The West Wing houses the Oval Office, the President's official office, and offices of other senior personnel. The Cabinet Room is used for presidential cabinet meetings and other business meetings. The Situation Room is a conference room and intelligence center run by the National Security Council to track and deal with crises, as well as to communicate with foreign personnel. The press secretary gives his daily briefing in the James S. Brady briefing room, and the president sometimes uses it as well to address the press or nation. The Roosevelt Room is used for meetings, preparations to see the president, and occasionally to appoint new staff members. It is named after the two President Roosevelts. The East Wing is a minor part of the White House. It only contains some offices and sometimes the First Lady's offices. It was constructed to hide an underground bunker during World War II. Now, although it may seem that the White House is full of only serious and official rooms and offices, this is a misnomer. There are many recreational facilities on the mansion grounds. There's a basketball court, a bowling alley, a tennis court, a horseshoe pit, a putting green, and even a swimming pool. And we will end on this happy note. Thank you for watching American Artifact, and we hope you will be back with us next week. On behalf of all of our partners here at our studios in Hillsborough, California, this is Ethan Yan. Have a good night.